Hey guys, welcome to Boxing Squared for boxing news and views from around the internet. It often seems like it's a race to the bottom where boxing sanctioning bodies are concerned. And so it has proved with the WBA's latest rankings that are out now. So I'll get straight into it as it doesn't need much preamble and I'll express my outrage as we go along. Farcical, otherwise known as Fast Fred, he climbs to #1 slot in the WBA's rankings. Who, might you ask, has Farcical actually fought to get there? The answer? No one. Absolutely no one. That's who. The 44-year-old last fought Ruslan Chagayev 3.5 years ago. That was his last fight, back in mid-2014. And that was a fight he lost. So you might be wondering, well, what magic is at work here for a clearly inactive fighter coming off a loss to work his way up to the #1 slot? Aquendo, he clearly had good people working for him as he managed to negotiate a rematch clause into his last contract. And that rematch has never occurred. He went to court to get the WBA to honour it, and he won. So this elevation to the top spot, it's not completely unexpected, as the WBA needs to actually tidy this up, get this fight out of the way, off the books. And especially because the WBA has also ordered the new regular title holder, Manuel Cha, to negotiate a fight with Aquendo, and those negotiations have to occur before December 22nd. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I don't begrudge Aquendo fighting for what he was promised. That was in the contract. He's just getting the WBA to live up to its end of the bargain. But let's not dress this up. He doesn't deserve to be in the rankings, full stop, let alone at the top spot. So he's got them over a barrel here, and he's making the most of it. And from that point of view, well, good on him, but in actuality, he doesn't deserve the top spot. But Fast Fred, he is happy nonetheless. Posting on Facebook, new at WBA heavyweight rankings just released. I'm back on top, ranked #1 in the world. 2018 will be my year. Fight announcement coming soon. Okay, moving on. Alexander Povetkin continues his rise in the rankings, moving from 5th spot to 2nd. So the talented but aging Russian, he is now positioned nicely in most of the sanctioning bodies, and he is due for a big fight inside the next 12 months. So if it's not the WBA, could be the WBO, could be the WBC, or any of these other ones. He is slowly working his way up the rankings, and he is due a big fight. Christian Hammer, who is due to fight Alexander Povetkin later this month, he moves up 3 places to 3rd, and Jarrell Miller and Kubrat Pulev, they climb to 4th and 5th respectively. Besides the Aquendo aberration at the top, number 2 to 5, I don't actually have any problem with. They deserve to be there or thereabouts. But here's where it starts to go sideways. Undefeated American prospect Trevor Bryan. He's 18-0. He climbs 4 places to 10th to #6 in the rankings. Okay, I mean, the problem I have here is Bryan, while he might be a talented fighter and whatnot, he's an up-and-coming prospect, could be going places. He's only fought once in 2017 and once in 2016. And the 2 guys that he fought had a combined 53 losses at the time that he fought them. So I'm left scratching my head here at his elevation in the rankings. I would have thought a lot differently had he been fighting 3 or 4 times a year and slowly stepping up the competition. But it's clearly not the case here. So for whatever reason, the WBA has been like, well, let's put him up to #6. Dillian White, he remains unchanged at #7. Alexander Ustinov, he drops from 2nd to 8th following his loss to Manuel Cha. At 9th, and here's where I really scratch my head again, we have BJ Flores. So the cruiserweight turned heavyweight has, on the strength of 2 wins at heavyweight over journeyman opposition, somehow risen to 9th. And the WBA has put him in that position. And with all this head scratching that's going on, I'm going to be scratching through the skin at the moment, because at 10 we have another cruiserweight turned heavyweight in the form of Guillermo Jones, who is 45, and he's only had 6 fights this decade, and half of them were at cruiserweight. However, he did capture one of the WBA's minor titles last month, so presumably on the strength of that, he's into the ranking. So he was unranked, and now he's in at 10. So I imagine those with aspirations in the WBA will be targeting Flores and Jones in quick smart, because you would want to get to them, get past them, and hopefully boost your stock in the WBA. Rounding out the top 15. Okay, so we've got, I don't have so much of a problem with this, Otto Wallen, Bryant Jennings, Charles Martin, Johan Dorper, and for some reason at 15 we have Kyotaro Fujimoto, who we know, despite fighting nobody of any consequence in his entire career, and the one guy that he did fight, Solomon Himono, he lost to, he is at 15. And he's actually in a couple of ranking bodies at the moment, and I just don't understand it. But anyway, it's not unfair to say that some of these guys in this top 15 have absolutely no place being in the rankings at all. Some of these guys, they're top 40, top 50, top 60 guys. They are definitely not top 15 or should be considered for the top 15. If these sanctioning bodies want to be taken seriously and they want fans to actually respect them and their belts, they actually have to act credibly in all aspects of how they conduct themselves. And that goes for the rankings too. You only have to have more than a cursory knowledge of boxing to know that these rankings are a bit of a farce, that they don't stack up, and clearly other factors are influencing them. And that's not good. It would be good to have more transparency and actually know what has placed some of these guys, like BJ Flores, 2 journeyman fights, he's in at 9. How does that make sense? What do you make of it? Drop a comment, hit like, hit subscribe, follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.